Good morning, everyone. So, today in history, we are starting off with the chapter 4, and as per the syllabus and the scope of your boards, we are following. This is the second phase of the Indian national movement. So, this is the syllabus of your boards, and so first phase we have completed when we have talked about the early nationalists, and this is the second phase we are starting off. Here we have the portion of partition of Bengal, just a little bit of the causes for the partition of Bengal and what was its perspective or views of the different nationalists. Okay, so and then we are going to do the brief mention of the Surat split of 1907. So today these are the three topics which we are going to take up. Okay, first let us start off with the partition of Bengal. Okay, the partition of Bengal. First thing was the province of Bengal was comprised of Bengal, proper Bengal, which we have now, and when we had Bihar, Orissa, which is now called Orissa, then the Chota Nagpur region and the Bengali speaking districts of modern Assam. Okay, so these were the regions where a new province called East Bengal and Assam was constituted by combining Assam and Chittagong with 15 districts of Old Bengal. Okay, so the Congress during the rule of Lord Curzon in 1903, the condition of partition of Bengal was being demanded. Okay, and then during 1903 and 1904, the Congress denounced this scheme. The protests continued, and yet the government put its plan into effect in 1905. So, despite protests of not partitioning Bengal, Bengal was partitioned forcibly by the Britishers under the rule of Lord Curzon. So, of course, after this partition, there were massive protests and massive problems which were created at this point of time. So, what were the causes for the government's government's decision for partitioning West Bengal? First, the government regarded the size of Bengal to be too large to be properly administered by the provincial government. So they considered that since all of this was under the provincial government, so it was too large for them to cope up. So they thought of reducing the size. Okay. This argument was advanced by Curzon in favor of partition was that it would improve the administration of both the provinces, that is Bengal and East Bengal and Assam. So since Bengal was quite a large size, so it was divided into East Bengal, Assam and Bengal, so it would lead to better administration of the state if it was divided into short provinces. So this was the first argument. Secondly, the Secretary to the Government of India noted that government was in favor of bringing all Odia, that is Orissa speaking people, under the administration of Bengal. So these were the causes as per Lord Curzon's view. But the ultimate reasons, the main reasons were something else. Okay, so what were the main reasons? First is to strike at the roots of Bengal nationalism. At that time, Bengal became the nerve center of Indian nationalism. So, and many great personalities from Bengal, especially the educated ones. In our early nationalists, we have talked about Surendranath Banerjee, Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, W.C. Banerjee. All they had started their nationalistic feelings from Bengal. So, gradually, Bengal had its nerve center of nationalism, which the Britishers felt. Okay, so in order to stop that, they decided to divide Bengal, because otherwise Lord Curzon and the British officials believed that Bengal is a united power. If Bengal divided, will pull the national movement in several directions. So that is one of the reason. The next reason was the policy of divide and rule, which is quite well known to us, because at that time the Hindus and Muslims of Bengal, since you know that East Bengal comprises most of Bengali speaking Muslims, so many of the entire Bengal region comprised of both Hindus and Muslims together, which was a great unifying force for that region. And this was the major reason for which the nationalistic feelings were very strong from this region. So, in order to drive a wedge, in order to make a division in between the Hindus and the Muslims, the Lord Curzon went on to with this policy. He explained to the Muslims that his object in partitioning was not to relieve Bengal administration but also create a Mohammedan province. And in this way, he instigated the Muslims against the Hindus. And with this viewpoint, he wanted to create this divide and rule policy, as a result of which there would be a break in the unifying force. Next, to demonstrate the strength of the British Raj. Lord Curzon had a great dislike for democratic ideals. Okay, so for this reason, he believed that people of India will be illiterate, will not have, if they remain illiterate, they will not have any political aspiration. So, to him, the demands of Indian National Congress had no meaning. So that is why, in order to demonstrate anti-nationalistic feelings, and so that the people doesn't become literate enough to go against the British, he went on for the partition of Bengal. So these were the reasons for which Bengal was partitioned, the obvious reasons and the actual reasons behind why Bengal was partitioned. Okay, so I think in your syllabus, as per your syllabus, this is the portion. Then you have the Surat split of 1907. Now, partitioning of Bengal led to the assertion of strong methods in Indian politics. Now came the view when we have a different set of nationalists who were rising up during this time. They were the assertive nationalists who did not believe in any negotiable or any acknowledgement of freedom through matters of petition or prayers. The young men were beginning to ask, what is the good of constitutional agitation if the result is the insult and partition of Bengal? So the early nationalists who were educated enough to follow a policy of constitutional way of bringing justice were no longer accepted by these assertive nationalists. And from here, there was, because at this time, during the Kolkata session of Congress in 1906, witnessed a compromise between the leaders with moderate views and the sturdy nationalists. That means now there was a difference in opinion between the viewpoints of the early nationalists, or the moderates as we call them, and the new set of nationalists, the assertive ones, the radical ones who were gradually growing up. So in Dadabhai Nauroji, who has been specially called from England with moderate views to preside over the session, and the purpose being to prevent the Bal Gangadhar Tilak from becoming the president of the Congress. Now, Bal Gangadhar Tilak was among the assertive nationalists who presented that there should be revolution in order to find out the solution to the problems of freedom. Okay. So, as a result of this, a split was feared, and personality of grand old man, that is Dadabhai Nauroji, prevented it from happening. Then Swaraj was proclaimed by the Congress president as the goal of India. So, I guess you know that Swaraj is the fact that there should be self-rule. So, as a result of this concept of Swaraj, there were two in the Kolkata session. There were two things which were being discussed, which was the Swadeshi and the boycott, and this were all adopted by the congressmen. As a result of this, due to the Surat split, that is why the Congress got split in 1907 at Surat, because there were difference in opinions between the moderates and the radicals. Okay, so they wanted to insert in the clause of the Congress constitution that Swaraj has to be achieved by any means. Through constitutional means, first they will assert it, but unless and until they put a strong pressure on the government, then they will never be able to achieve this objective. So, due to this difference in the viewpoints, there was the Congress got split in 1907 at the Surat session. Okay. So, for this, they'll just go through the portions which have been discussed in the video today for your better understanding. Then in the next class, we will be discussing the contribution of the assertives. Okay. Thank you everyone.